So I started to document it. It was great, and I started to basically make the stuff I wish I had when I started. And I'm like, I wish I had this content, and this is straight blueprint. Here's what to do, because I don't think it's as complicated as a lot of people make it.
Hello again, and welcome to REI Smart Talk. I'm direct marketing coach Scott Snofke here with another episode to bring to you to introduce you to one of our good friends inside the industry. It's a pleasure to bring to you Real Estate Syndicate, and Kai Logue is a coaching program that is phenomenal. It's based out of San Antonio, Texas. He's a good friend of mine. I've learned a lot from him, and I hope you to follow him and learn a lot from what he's done. A phenomenal cold caller. He cold calls every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. on Facebook. I push a lot of people in that direction to just see how it goes. So without further ado, it's Mr. Logue. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, brother. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, super excited to be here and do this with you. And we've been talking about it for a bit, and I'm happy to finally get to come on and be on the show.
I appreciate that. So you've been in the real estate industry or real estate space for a long time. You started up in Massachusetts and up in Boston area. Is that right? Where were you at up there?
Yeah, so I moved around a lot as a kid. Kind of had a tough childhood, so bounced around a lot. I went to like 12 different schools. Bounced all over the place, all over New England. Most of my time was in Lynn, Massachusetts, and then New Hampshire, and then my wife's from Maine. So yeah, we did a bunch of places. But yeah, so I actually didn't get into real estate until I moved to Texas, and actually until I moved into San Antonio. So I moved down to Texas, wanted to be around more entrepreneurs, be around where more stuff was happening. And really to get into real estate. And I saw myself, the only way I thought you could do it was because all I knew was like listen to Bigger Pockets and, the small amount of information I had. And I thought you needed all these things, like you need to have, all this experience and know-how and how to fix things, which I'm not handy at all. I thought you had to have, rich parents, which I didn't have, perfect credit and all this stuff. And I'm like, one day I want to do it. So I've been an entrepreneur since I was 23, but I always kind of had the itch to get into real estate for some reason. So I would listen to podcasts and learn, but I had those limiting beliefs, which at the time I didn't know they were limiting beliefs. I thought they were like valid excuses or reasons. But eventually I found out about this thing called wholesaling after I came down to Texas. I had a marketing company, so we're doing marketing for car dealers. That was going well, and then COVID happened. Lost all of our clients overnight, and then at the time, I'm like, fuck, I can rebuild this maybe at some point when the dealerships open back up. Read about this thing called real estate wholesale. Let's give it a try, and we did. Gave it a try, and I found out it was just sales and marketing. I didn't need all those things I thought I had, and sales and marketing is all I've ever done my whole life. Literally since 18, I've been in sales. And took 60 days. First deal, I barely made $1,000. I think I made $1,100 when it was all said and done. I'm like, well, this sucks. Yeah. But, at least I got proof of concept. I know this thing's legit and it works. Well,
it's $1,100.
I kept going.
And knowledge. A lot of people discount the amount of knowledge that you get from just, closing a deal is that first one, get through the first couple, and that's like going to college. And then now all of a sudden you can start to scale and escalate that knowledge, like inside of your coaching program that you bring. You've blazed that trail for people to get through. But most people discount the knowledge and look at the financial means of it. And it's just, we want to promote learning and going to the right spots to figure out where to find that good knowledge. And I know with Real Estate Syndicate, that's there. I know I've learned a lot from you, but continue on. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just love the knowledge.
Yeah, no, you're good, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. I've learned a bunch from you as well. Definitely on the marketing side, I'm pulling lists and a bunch of cool stuff and tips and tricks you're always, being gracious enough to share, which is super helpful for us and the community. But yeah, luckily I kept going because I'm stubborn or stupid or mix of both. So I kept going after that. Made that $1,000 after 60 days. And luckily I did, because a couple weeks later, we got another deal and we made over $60,000 off that one and closed super quick. And I'm like, cool. That was the most money I ever made at one time. And I'm like, cool, I'm all in. Let's do this wholesale thing.
That's awesome. It's always neat to hear how people get started inside of the industry and then how they've grown from there. So you've actually scaled yourself through various coaching platforms that you utilized, and then you used part of that to create Real Estate Syndicate. And in creating Real Estate Syndicate, talk to me a little bit about that, of your coaching and your mentor package that you can bring to the individual and how they can like and follow you to find more about Real Estate Syndicate and Kai Logue, how that stuff can help them grow and expand their business.
For sure. Yeah, so the syndicate kind of happened organically. I was posting and, just started documenting some of the stuff I was doing online, starting to post more on social media. Prior to that, I'd post once in a while. I wasn't ever very consistent, once a month, and then I'd go. And but wouldn't post social media at all. But slowly started to document the journey because I was having so much fun with wholesaling. And finally felt like, after 8 years of being an entrepreneur, maybe 6 or 7 at that time, but however long it was, finally found like I found the right vehicle and I was having fun with it, which was something I never really had before, so I started to document it. And it was great, and I started to basically make the stuff I wish I had when I started. And I'm like, I wish I had this content, and this is straight blueprint, here's what to do, because I don't think it's as complicated as a lot of people make it. So I started to do that, started to share. Eventually that turned into doing live cold calls. Started doing live cold calls. We do those every week in my Facebook group in the Real Estate Wholesaling Syndicate. Turned into making YouTube videos after, as I got more comfortable on camera, which eventually turned into events and my own podcast, the Real Estate Wholesaling Syndicate, where we interview a bunch of other investors and share tips and tricks very similar to this. It's kind of grown organically, and just very grateful for the community we built. Basically, you type in Wholesaling Syndicate, wholesalingsyndicate.com. We just redid our whole site. We get blogs, training. So really, my whole goal is to give you everything you need for free. But if you want more accountability, you want to get there faster, you want a community, we have a mastermind, like a small tight-knit group that we built to help each other win and go further faster too.
Yeah, talk to me about it. People throw the word mastermind around a lot, and ultimately when I got into the industry, mastermind meant to me was this big group, almost a forum of hundreds and hundreds of people. As I, learned more inside of the business and realized that there's a lot of small group. And inside of the small group, it's a lot of one-on-one and or accountability from peers in just this, 7, 8, 10, 15 people that are not as overwhelming as when you walk into a room and there's 550 in there. You can't possibly meet every one of them or know how they fit you. So talk to me a little bit about your mastermind with Real Estate Syndicate.
That's a great point too. It's funny just hearing other people say things. Oh my God, it's just something that is definitely true. And I was aware that everyone does, just the mastermind, whether it's a giant group or anything in between. And no, that's a great point. So when I think of a mastermind, I think more of how Napoleon Hill talks about it in Think and Grow Rich. If anyone's ever read that book, if you haven't, I might recommend it. A small group of people with a common goal. So it's fairly small. I think we have like 10 members now, and then we meet twice over Zoom. So we do like Monday, we do accountability goals. Where are we going? We get real clear. We share what's working for us, what's not working. So it's huge for us. So if you try one service that doesn't work, and hey, you guys probably shouldn't do that one. I didn't have great results. We find a service like REIPrintMail, like, hey, this is working great. We should probably do more of that. So that's just one of my favorite features of it, because it'd take me so much longer to try to do everything myself and spend this money, and it costs so much more money, much time, than having that group of everyone having that common goal and working together. And then same thing if somebody has a problem, hey, this hasn't happened yet. Once it happens to you a couple times, you can figure it out quickly. It's just the same thing with the mastermind. It happened to someone else. Really, it's just all the collective power of that small group. And it really is almost, not to kind of sounds cliche, and it's not where when you use it, it's kind of almost like a family. It's a real tight knit. We're all there for each other. We all talk to each other. Everybody, like, free tickets to the events are all VIPs in my book. We're all each other's people. We all have each other's back, and like personal stuff. So it's been really cool, and it's something I'm really grateful for. And we do it twice, and we do the other Zoom calls, like tactical training on Thursdays. Yeah, we have either myself or another expert will come in and do a training. Actually, I'd love to have you come in. We'll have to talk about that off camera. But yeah, it's been great. It's one of my favorite times of the week. Is something I look forward to, and it's just nice having a community, because entrepreneurship can be lonely, especially if everyone else is not an entrepreneur.
And one thing I've noticed about your community, I've interacted with you guys quite a bit, with whether it's at some of your events and seen you guys walk through the room and how you talk and communicate with the other people at the event that are looking to grow and scale their business, is like you said, camaraderie. You celebrate the highs, you also celebrate the lows of, hey, let's figure out how to fix this. You're not in it by yourself. You're not in it to have to tackle all of these problems by yourself. You have other people around there, almost like a cheering section, like, hey, yeah, I've been there. I understand that happens, but this is what I did to get out of it. The failures are also lessons, and then as we grow in, the successes are celebrated as a group. And then once you celebrate, what you've learned from that, and then you wash, rinse, and repeat that to continue to grow that. And that's one of the things I love about masterminds, and especially small group masterminds, that in general, you're not alone. A lot of times people think it when they're in the real estate, they're working from home, they get in that mindset that they have to do it all themselves. And there's hundreds and hundreds of ways to offload some of those work problems. You don't have to do that. I often talk about go do what you enjoy, hire out what you don't. But you still have to oversee it to make sure it's there. But that's what masterminds are there for, to help you hire out, find the good companies that are out there. Do you have anything to expand on that thought, or where are you at there?
No, I think you explained it perfectly. Yeah, I think that's really it. And to touch on one other point that I like about it too, it's one, it's doing that and giving tips, but it's also like holding each other accountable. So that's a big thing of our group too. It's just like, we have core values. One of them is integrity. Like, did you do what you said you were going to do? And each week we pick something to hold each other accountable for. And nobody wants to be the person who didn't say that, because it's so much easier to lie to yourself and say, hey, oh, this came up, so I didn't do it, or whatever. But it's a lot harder when to lie to the whole group, especially if everyone else is doing what they're supposed to be doing. And
accountability.
And nobody wants to be the person who didn't do it.
Is a huge thing inside of this industry, because most of us are working from home and alone. So it's easy to talk to that. I often talk about the man in the mirror, or for me, it's a man in the mirror, but the person in the mirror is there's no way to lie to that person. And in confronting that person in the mirror, you can sit there and look at them. You can lie to them all you want, but you know you're lying. And at that point, you either choose to continue down that path, which, we all know leads to disaster because it's not follow up or follow through compared to leading down the path of accountability to where you're accountable for your actions. And we mostly find success in that. So I love that. How can we find you? What's the easiest way to find Kai?
Yeah, so really everywhere on social media, so whatever your favorite platform is. So it's Kai, K-Y, last name's Logue, L-O-G-U-E, or just type in Wholesaling Syndicate, check out our website, all the links are there, podcast. So Kai Logue, or just type in Wholesaling Syndicate. And I'd love to connect. If there's any way I can add any value to your community, anyone listening, feel free to reach out, try to respond to all my messages. Love to help any way I can.
Yeah, I often recommend people to definitely catch you on Wednesday nights, because that's always a colorful conversation of you talking with individual cold calls. Like, you just don't know who's going to be on the other side of the phone, and you don't know what you're going to learn. Often I'll have it on in the background or have it in my earpiece, listening to it, and I'm kind of walking around. So I definitely recommend to like and follow you on Facebook, because you put out so much content that is so easy to learn from and free. And then from that, if somebody finds success, they can continue to grow and follow you. Thanks for your time today on this. I look forward to, as I always do, any of our conversations. Anytime I can get in front of you, I always tend to learn something. So I appreciate that. Anything you have to say right before we go?
No, man, just thank you for having me on. Love what you're doing. Keep crushing it, man. Yeah, guys, like I said, keep listening to podcasts like this. It's how I got started. And if you know someone else, like, the best thing you can do if you have a podcast you like is just share it out. So make sure you share what REISmartTalk's doing, and help spread the word.
I appreciate it, Kai. Thanks today, and look forward to our next conversation. You have a good one.